Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be going over every mod everyone should be using if they want to have at least the best basic combat. But what you do after downloading these mods is pretty much up to you, even if that means you end up downloading defeat mods. Of course, I do have to give a disclaimer that some of these you may think there's a better alternative, but don't be afraid to comment that down below. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. And also, it's 2024, don't forget to endorse mod authors if you end up enjoying their mod, because they might deserve it if you do like it. The first mod up is Precision, and I feel like I have to explain this one because people don't know the full capabilities of Precision. When most people think of it, they just think it makes attack collisions more accurate, which is kinda correct, I won't doubt that one, but it also adds hit stop. And to explain hit stop basically means that when you hit something, it will feel like you actually hit something. By adding a camera shake to your screen depending on how strong you actually have it, because at base it's very subtle, but you can also crank that up so that it's so strong that it feels like you're getting motion sickness, which I have been told by people. There's also that little annoying effect when you hit walls and your character staggers backwards. That's pretty much Precision. Now you can finally turn it off because it's actually the first thing I always do. Precision generally has a lot of effects that people don't know about. It also has those little trails when you swing your sword around and there's something behind it, which people tend to hate, but I'll sometimes like it. Sometimes. But either way, it's an absolute must-have no matter what type of Skyrim you're currently on. Oh, and quick disclaimer, I'm not going to be showing one mod after another. I'm just going to be going with the motion in this one and explaining some of our mods that are absolutely essential. The Precision one was a little different. That one was important and I feel like it had to be explained. Otherwise, it wouldn't have did it justice. I want to showcase my floor, but this one is basically just Skyrim 3D trees and plants, but I did mix it up a little bit. To mix it up, I edited the ESP a little bit and I did delete some things out of it, which is not very advised. But that was so that another floor mod could override it, and that mod is Draco 3D plants and shrubs. But pretty much every single flower and tree you see here is Skyrim 3D trees and plants, which is a great tree replacer and floor replacer if you don't feel like searching on Nexus for hours to find good plants. But otherwise, you can check out Cathedral Floor, which is what I used to use. Quick disclaimer though, if you use Skyrim 3D trees and plants, it might look a little different than mine's, but if you want to copy my trees, you just need to check out my Patreon. Same with the grass, because the grass is also custom, and I know people ask about that sometimes, but it is free. Every time I say ask, I listen back to it because people say I say ask more than ask, but I feel like I don't. Let me know down in the comments about that. Quick little input also, I have Aspens of Skyrim trees, but the mod author took the mod down unfortunately, so I gotta find a way so you guys can also get it because they are FPS friendly and they look amazing. What more can you want? But I mean, besides just changing the environment such as trees and grass, we might want to finish it off by actually changing the water, which is where water for ENB comes into place. I mean, some people prefer realistic water, and I give no judgment there because I did used to use that on the Xbox. But as of now, I always go with water for ENB. Water for ENB just has so many patches and it's constantly being updated, like literally constantly. It's probably one of the only reasons I still get Nexus Premium, because constantly downloading it over 200 megabytes per second gets a little tedious when you only get about 3 megabytes. But of course it still has some issues as every water overhaul, but that's where the constant updates come into play. But on top of water for ENB, you might want to also grab natural waterfalls, because just recently the mod author combined every single extension into one mod. So now you can just download every single one in one click and get all its patches without having to go to multiple mod pages. Makes things so much easier. Natural waterfalls is an absolute must no matter what water you're using. There's no opinions here. If you think you don't need this mod, then you're wrong. There's no in between. And a little cherry on top, if you feel like destroying your FPS, which we all do, you can always add clutter mods onto your game like Lux Via, which adds things to your road to make them really stand out and pop. Or you can add northern roads, but if you do, just know you'll need dozens of patches unless you take the clutter from it and just take away the roads, which is what I usually do. I recommend one or the other if you just need the distractions, or you can have them both all together like me. But you can also go and grab Ancient Lands, which adds a bunch of immersive things around Skyrim, and they're usually huge, so it's impossible not to notice what's added by this. Okay, that's pretty much it for environmental mods. Now we can get into the stuff that I know most of you came for, and that part is mainly the HUD and the combat mods. But at first we're going to just start with the HUD because it's probably one of the most asked about, even if I toned it down a lot. And if we're talking HUD, the very first mod you want to grab is TrueHUD. That's the absolute must mod in every mod list. I can't name a single one that doesn't use TrueHUD. TrueHUD does so much, but just to name a few, it allows you to lock onto enemies and dragons. I had to separate them because dragons are a complicated creature. But depending on how much you want to cheat when you lock on, you can turn on homing arrows and magic. Or you can choose to go to regular version and just use predictive, so the arrows will move based on where the enemies are currently moving. So that can cause you to miss a lot, but it also can be very helpful. It's also the reason you see those bars above enemy heads and those boss bars at the bottom of your screen, or maybe they're at the top, depending on how you have that set up. TrueHUD is absolutely essential, and I cannot stress that enough, because literally every list that you see will have that. The next mod you absolutely need is moreHUD, both the normal moreHUD and the moreHUD inventory version. Well, you can survive without the inventory, but the regular moreHUD is definitely needed. moreHUD expands on HUD of vanilla Skyrim, allowing pop-up notifications and allowing you to view the information of the item before even picking them up, so you know if you want it or if you don't. But let's be honest, most of us who play Skyrim are compulsive looters, so we're gonna pick it up either way, but it definitely helps to see the information first. moreHUD also is those little icons above my health bar that you see. I usually don't bother setting them up because it resets every new game, and because I make videos, I make a lot of new games. But it shows the carry weight and the gold counter. It generally only shows up when you look at items, but if you prefer, you can set it to always visible. The next mod I believe everyone should grab is definitely Wheeler. It does have a few requirements. It might be a little confusing at first, but once you learn it, you will never remove it. Wheeler did take inspiration from Red Dead Redemption and is basically a favorites menu replacer, at least in my opinion, but it allows you to hotkey items and use or equip them much easier than scrolling down your favorites list, which I know usually ends up being pages long. And my HUD that you can see, such as the bars and inventory, is Edge UI, which can be found on Eugene's Patreon. It is free, but quick disclaimer, I am using the early access version, which almost caused me to go bankrupt at $3. It's very expensive, but very worth it. Especially considering he's always updating this, it might take a little while for him to update, but it's always a good update. Next, we're going to take a quick look into some mods that can really take your combat to the next level, or really just modernize it without turning it into anime, because that's becoming a trend lately. And I can't lie, I did have that phase too. But of course, there's a ton more mods that I'm gonna add to this that you can also add, but you can just search on Nexus for those. But the first mod I believe for the combat category everyone should grab is Dynamic Impact Slash. It's a very simple mod, but a mod everyone could use and love. To simply explain this mod, it makes it so on impact your character and NPCs will display impact effects such as blood coming from your character, or red paint as we'll call it for YouTube. There's also usually a slash effect that's bright white and it kind of flashes me, so I turned it invisible, which you can also do pretty easily because it has an installation option. But what truly makes this mod great is the fact that each impact is based on what creature you're fighting and what weapon you're using. So if you're using your fist, there shouldn't be any blood, but there may be depending on if you have brawl or fist. But I mean, if you're fighting anything like a skeleton, then there won't be any blood at all. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about a very important one that we all probably saw coming. Attack Modern Combat Overhaul, or AMCO for short. It's hard to explain this mod and actually give it justice while doing so, but to mansplain it, it removes ice skating and allows you to combo into attacks like modern games. Generally, every list that gets over a few 100,000 views on YouTube is using Attack Modern Combat Overhaul. I enjoy a good old school list with just basic vanilla stuff, but I prefer to play in third person, and AMCO basically makes that enjoyable because in vanilla it's very heartbreaking to even try playing in third person. But maybe they made it like that because they made every single character in Skyrim hideous. The attack animations I use is a mixture of two mods, one being Nordic Complete Set on Nexus by Kimming and For Honor Animations by Skyrim. Some of them is on Nexus, but the all-in-one pack is paywall. The first one is free though, so I recommend giving that one a try. Of course, to pair with AMCO, because AMCO is just for the player and kinda screws NPCs. They're stuck only attacking once, which kinda makes it cheating for you. So you'll want to grab Scar, which in long terms means Skyrim Combat AI Revolution. And mansplaining again here, it means the NPCs learn what it means to attack in a combo based on your distance. So if you're close, they will attack continuously. When I say continuously, I mean even if out of stamina, they will still attack non-stop until you move away. So you might want to also grab Scar stamina limitation so you can at least fight back. And there's a bunch of animations for Scar that you can pretty much find all on Nexus, some on some other trustworthy sites that I won't list. Or you can just go with the base version that comes installed with Scar and you get the option to install it when you install it. That might sound a little confusing how I said that, but it makes a lot of sense if you mod Skyrim. But my personal favorite animation is definitely Home Game. It kind of makes NPCs look goofy, but that's what I like about it. Alright, that was it for today guys. I feel like I covered only a few essential mods to start their 2024 off with. But I mean, if I tried to cover every single one of them, this would turn into a 3-hour video, which I may end up doing in parts and then combine. But for now, leave a like on the video and I won't even ask you to subscribe again. I just hope you all have a great day. Peace and love.